All right. Um, Good morning. I got my orange juice. I got some coffee, and not bothered to present myself. Oh, okay, here we go. Let's get my hair right. Okay, much better. Intelligent. Okay, right. That looks intelligent. It doesn't matter because it's facts. Okay, few things. I've read through the 124 pages or whatever it was. And but first, let's do a couple the conservative nut house comments. Here's one. Diwana Man says, looking at the tweets posted for George Zimmerman for the past 3-4 hours, by far, most are talking about how George is not a racist. Many are not taking that well. And FTSK 420, hothead. That was the entire basis of the crime. He was accused of being a racist. That's why he's innocent. That's why he should go free. Zim profiled him because he was black. Now that it's proven to be false, it shows Zim's only MO was that he was suspicious. Oh, okay, he was suspicious. Okay, you could kill someone if you're suspicious. This is a funny thing. People in my comments are like, all that matters is what George felt at the time. It doesn't matter if he really was going to die, or he's not an expert doctor. It doesn't matter if he could escape. He's not an expert escape artist. It's what he was thinking at the time. Does that really make sense? So a paranoid schizophrenic that feels deadly threatened by any and everything, can kill you in self-defense. That's what they're trying to say. See, what you guys are missing when you're quoting those laws about self-defense and whatnot is liberal use of the word reasonable. Reasonable fears. What a reasonable person would think. If a reasonable person would fear for their life. And that's the key. George is not a reasonable. He's a depraved state of mind. Okay. This one. John Gulp. This guy's. Okay. He says the whole case might go away if Team Jeezy gets legitimate phone records directly from the service providers for TM, Tracy, DD, and Scheme Team. He's suggesting that Crump has just made up DD. They weren't really on the phone. See, their theory, that makes no sense, right? But their theory is that the Trayvon's parents don't even really miss him. They just want to make money off him, this way. And so it doesn't even matter if they get the public to think one thing or another, but it looks to me like George Zimmerman's the one that's getting flooded with money. But they mean use the legal system to be able to sue someone. But they're not going to just lie, huh? Just lie about the phone records. All these people they heard Dee Dee's voice and they're like, oh, that's not an honest sounding voice. For some reason. Don't know why they got that. Okay. Here's this guy's special. Froggy Legs. This is not his best comment ever. This is just like from one thread. Okay. Right, and Sereno's interview says Tracy said it was not Trayvon. So the question is, did Sereno lie and Tracy never said that? Or is Corey's investigator lying and Tracy did say it? Or did Tracy lie to Corey's investigator? George can just change the hell out of his story, but one person couldn't say, I don't know if that's my son, and that's not, you can't stretch your imagination. Okay. If Sereno is the liar, and these are people that say George didn't lie. George, he never really lied anyway. It doesn't count as lie. Amazing. I would put Sereno on the stand and ask him, believe me, Sereno's going on the stand. If he says Tracy never said it, then he falsified legal documents. And Amara can show that Sereno didn't like George because of the Ware case. Sereno could become George's Mark Furman. Or Tracy can perjure himself, or Corey's whole case folds and Tracy did say, isn't that funny, Froggy? Sereno could become George's Mark Furman. In that metaphor, that makes George OJ. We all know what OJ was. And Mark Furman is the reason OJ got away with murder. Serena could be why George gets away with murder, he just said. Okay. Oh, this is cute. Anyone that takes care of the dirty work standing up for others and injustice will be characterized by the FBI as a hero type. That's what, Sereno said George had a little hero complex. That's what they think is anyone. This is the thing. They're wanting, this is why it's the big part to me, is they're wanting to lionize the mouse, It's like, oh, you need to think of his fear. He's a hero because he killed somebody from his fear. That's what we need, is more celebration of our fear, because in America, we're so brave. That's the problem. We need more fear. Lots and lots more fear. And if anybody that's fearful and kills somebody, they're always going to call it a hero complex. Okay. Sounds like he has some semblance of objectivity, except the unarmed part. If you're armed with leverage and concrete and in an insurmountable position of strength, I'd say you are armed. Just about as strongly armed as you could be in a fight. Unless, I'd rather you could have an Apache helicopter. That might be a little more armed in a fight. No, having arms. That's all you need. That's what's so funny about this. He was armed with his arms. Don't you listen? Arms. Yes, he had arms. Oh my God. Yeah, this is slightly hints of racism here. The African chimpanzee-like strength of your 17-year-old black youth. That's armed. Case. Min pin. Oh, I cut out the whole thing, but basically it's like, why hasn't the talks report been released by the state? Well, they have it. It's going to be released. I thought it would come out now, and I noticed it said the only illegal drugs found in his system, or the only controlled substances, rather, found in his system was a negligible amount of THC. So maybe that's what they think of the whole thing. I wish they just put out the whole thing. I don't know what's going on with that either. But good luck with that. And then they were wondering if maybe Sereno wasn't the problem. It wasn't the real leaker and stuff. Of course, that guy Sundance over there, he's still sure Amara is a big part of a conspiracy, even though he wrote that order, finally defending Zimmerman and everything. It's just a part of the long game. The Zimmerman family and their strong will, they made him. Has anybody read that about that Zimmerman family? This air marshal. This air marshal friend, former Sanford detective, got fired for serving security detail for a con man there in Sanford, and then went on to become an air marshal. Failing up. Okay, but he seems like a nice enough guy or whatever. Shouldn't say anything otherwise, but yeah, he look. Here's one thing he said: Zimmerman's family. So, Blank confirmed that Zimmerman's mother, Blank, was very strict and dominant. His mother was known to hit him all the time when Zimmerman was growing up. Up until this incident, Zimmerman was estranged from his family. His sister has a different mother and is treated differently by his brother, Blank and Blank. His father did not discipline and did not stick up for the kids as they were abused by their mother. G. Zimmerman has a closer relationship with his half-sister, blank than he does with the other members of the family. Yeah. Okay. Here's Georgian himself. This is his MySpace, but in discovered evidence. I told you I'd go to social media when it was discovered, okay? This is him writing about himself. Moved out of Manassas, Virginia, D.C. suburb, about 4 years ago. A lot of people, they say they hate it, but I can't ever say I hate home. Miss my boys from back home. No one is going to have your back like your boys who grew up with you and are as scared of your mama as you are. You know who you are. The same ones that would come over and have my pops tie your tie before every school dance and interview. I know a lot of y'all hating because I'm out and I ain't never going back. I used to look at people like me the same way. Can you really hate on someone for improving their life? Who's the gang? Who's the hoodie? I love the fact that I can still go back home and crash on my boy's couch as if I had never left. I can hit my boy up to handle a little something with my sister. And he's at my house with his boys on bikes before I hang up with her. They do a year and don't ever open their mouth to get my ass pinched. My cousins, the Cruzados, damn I love you all. They do a year and don't ever open their mouth to get my ass pinched. Wow. Okay. This is an interesting one. So, this is his ex-wife. She tells a story that one occasion blank was coming home at night. This is how the injunctions happened. At 9:30 to 10:30 one evening and observed Zimmerman's car as it exited her complex. She called Zimmerman on his cell phone and asked him what he was doing as a test to see if he would admit that he was at her residence. Zimmerman told her he had just taken a friend home. Blank asked where that was, and Zimmerman gave her a location different from her address. Blank then told Zimmerman she just saw him leave the complex. Zimmerman laughed and said he just wanted to talk to her because he was depressed about his grandmother's declining health issues. Blank advised that Zimmerman was very close with his grandmother. Zimmerman then asked if he could come back and talk to her, and Blank agreed. Zimmerman and Blank spoke for a while in her townhouse. When it got late, told Zimmerman that she wanted to go to sleep. Zimmerman asked if he could stay with her. When she refused, he asked if he could just sleep on the couch. When she refused again, Zimmerman grabbed her cell phone, put it in his pocket, and said he wasn't going to leave. Blank attempted to remove the phone from his pocket, but Zimmerman pushed her away. Blank's dog then jumped at Zimmerman and bit his face near the jaw. Blank was able to retrieve her cell phone and call the police. Zimmerman was gone before the police arrived. Zimmerman, the police encouraged Blank to file an injunction against Zimmerman, which she did the very next day. The police eventually served Zimmerman with the injunction. The day after Zimmerman was served, Blank was served with an injunction which had been filed by Zimmerman. In that order, Zimmerman indicated that Blank had accused him of being a womanizer and scratched his face after he refused to stay with her at her apartment. Blank advised that Zimmerman's statement was essentially the reverse of what she had stated in her order. They eventually went to court, and a mutual one-year injunction order was filed. That occurred in 2005. So, yeah, and the womanizer thing is just because, that she caught him on a dating site saying he was single and playing around on a bed with the teenage mother and her baby. But she doesn't seem as bitter as people were saying. She said they had no reason. She didn't think that he was fooling around with that teenage mother neighbor, but she did think it was inappropriate. Let's finish with this one. This shows a little bit of what happens when Zimmerman gets mad. That sweet little guy that's so sweet and nice to some people, and other people say, hey, maybe there's a Dr. Jekyll to this Mr. Hyde, or vice versa. Which one? I guess Mr. Hyde was the crazy one, right? Zimmerman's mother wanted him to marry a white female, said his ex-fiancée. Zimmerman's mother and grandmother exercised a lot of control over Zimmerman, and he always seemed to want to please them. However, Zimmerman came to Blank's defense on one occasion after Blank had an argument with his mother. Zimmerman turned off the electricity to his mother's house, locked the electrical box, and departed, leaving his mother without electricity. That's the same kind of guy that lies to the judge the way he did. All right. That's enough.